and welcome to the first episode of the second season of From Me to We with Pastor and First G. I am First Gentleman Damion Parks Weekly, and this is my husband, Pastor Romell Parks Weekly.
Hello.
So we have missed you guys as much as you've missed us. We've gotten inboxes and emails and phone calls and things like that. Even people in person are like, where's the next episode? Yeah. So, just like most people, when you kind of want to do it in a seasonal way, you take a little break. So we are back. We're excited to be here and ready to move on to the next topic.
Amen. So churchy. But tonight we want to talk about fight or flight. And it's really talking about this tendency that people have in relationships. We don't even see fight anymore. It's just like flight or flight. Yeah. It's like as soon as the first issue comes up, as soon as the first problem arises, we're running for the hills. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of want to just talk about that tendency amongst us, particularly as, gay and lesbian individuals, the need that we have to stick with it, tough it out, fight, right. So I think that, first of all, you talk about fight or flight. One of the reasons people are flying so fast out of it is because they flew so fast into it. And it's like, we've said it a number of times in our previous episodes about this need that we have to date, right. To get to know people, to take things slowly, to not be committed, to not be in this monogamous relationship. Mm-hmm. You're casually dating, getting to know someone. You don't own them a week later. Right. They still have the right to go out and play the field, if you will, meet other people. But, before you even get into a relationship, mm-hmm. taking the time to know, is this person relationship material? You don't get into a relationship to figure that out. Right. You date in order to figure that out.
Right. And then, just one of the things that we tend to do, especially I think, is that we oftentimes move in together too soon. I've always been afraid of that, but I know several friends of mine who did, and some of them, long-lasting relationships. But a great deal of the time, moving in too fast has a tendency to put a lot of stress and strain on a relationship when we should still kind of be in dating, courtship mode, what you want to call it. Quickly, we start calling each other hubby or wifey or something like that after about 2 weeks or 3, mm-hmm. And then, even though it seems cutesy, it still puts more of a strain on a relationship.
It does. And look, I'm just to kind of be real here from a married perspective. When you are married and you put in your work to date, to be in a relationship, we had to travel to Iowa. We had to go through stuff in order to be married. We had private, faith-based ceremony. Mm-hmm. Then we had to have the legal ceremony and things like that. Yeah. We did a lot to be married. So we don't like that word kind of just being thrown around willy-nilly. This my husband. No, it's not. It's not. Forget the legal part, but even spiritually, have you all made covenant before right. God that this is your lifelong partner? Right. In many cases, no. It's these just cute words. But let this person be babe. Right. My boo, my whatever. Right. But don't go into the whole husband-wife thing until you're a husband-wife. Yeah. Especially now that marriage equality is legal. Certainly. And there's no reason to kind of jump the gun.
And you would think that you want to wait to get to that because it makes it that much more special. It
does.
Like I enjoy referring to him as my husband, but I did it after we were married. So no shade to any other people, just kind of our opinion and kind of how we feel about it. And I think a lot of friends of mine that I've spoken with, they kind of feel the same way. Now that we've gotten to this point, we want to revere marriage as much as possible and not just kind of minimize it or whatever.
Right,
so,
and keep the meaning. It's like how the church has misused the word love. We throw it around so much.
Sure.
And so now love just doesn't mean what it really is supposed to mean. Yeah. Well, in the same way, married, husband, wife, right. Supposed to mean something.
Absolutely.
And we want it to mean something after like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even 2 months.
Right.
Take your time, do your work. And once you do that work, I think that plays a part in how much you're willing to fight to preserve that relationship because you've actually put work into it before it even became a relationship. It's like, if somebody just gives you money, you're less liable to be discriminating in how you use it than if you worked hard for it. Your blood, sweat, and tears went into this. So we just, we want people to just hit the brakes, slow down, and develop over time a value of that relationship that makes it worth fighting for.
Right, absolutely. And on the opposite of all of that, we want to talk about people and how quickly we are to jump out of relationships or just regular dating scenarios, and how, a lot of times we don't give it enough time. We want relationship and marriage to happen instantaneously, right away, in a couple of weeks, a couple of months. And, lots of people are like, oh, I spent so much time with him. When I now ask, well, how long were you all dating? Just about 4 weeks or 5 weeks. And I'm like, that's all the time you gave it, So, well, he had issues. Well, what are your issues?
It's like, I gave it my all.
Right.
If you were able to withdraw everything inside of you in 4 weeks, you need a little more stock before you even get in a relationship.
Yeah, we got to look at you.
Right.
But a lot of times we self-sabotage it, because there's this fear of, I don't want to be the one to get hurt, so let me break it up, or let me call it off, or, there's a lot of things that people do in order to, that this is going to kill the relationship. So people do those things in order to get out of them. And same note on that. If you want to be out of the relationship, don't play games about it. Just end it and be honest about why you want to end it.
But that's the thing. Be honest about why you want to end it, not only with the other person, but also with yourself.
Yeah.
Don't come up with these kind of excuses. Know yourself and understand why you are where you are and why you're feeling what you feel. Because even if that means that this relationship has to end, being able to be in touch with yourself in that way can help you when it comes to the next relationship.
Absolutely.
In terms of not moving so fast, developing more slowly, but also just it's hard to try to get to know somebody else if you don't really know yourself yet. And then it's also easy to lose yourself in a relationship if you don't know yourself yet. If you haven't developed, we talked about that before, developing your own identity.
Right.
So, by knowing yourself, knowing where you are, it's going to really help you to do that. And it'll help you to, I think, you can put more into the fight for making a relationship work when you are more acquainted with what you want, with what your expectations are, with what your needs are, with what you yourself have deposited into the relationship. And because a lot of times if you haven't put anything into it, then it's not that big of a deal to just run.
Right.
But if you put 6 months, if you put a year into trying to make this thing happen, then okay, maybe with the first time the person, I hate to say first time, but maybe if the person cheats, you're not willing to just call it quits after one error or mistake. And we have to quit having that mentality. I will never put up with that. He got one time to call me out my name. He got one time to cheat. We say that stuff, but when your soul, when your heart is wrapped up, tied up, tangled up, it's not that easy. Neither should it be. If you can just cut and run after one quote unquote infraction, even if it's a big one, was the relationship really even worth salvaging?
Right. And if, a lot of people say that, okay, I've got deal breakers or some things that I really can't tolerate. But like you said, once you get into the relationship and your heart is into it, your mind is into it, and you've created this, if you've gotten to the point where you created this healthy balance of it about the relationship and the other individual, but about yourself, it makes it a little harder to just walk away from it. At the same time, we're not saying that you should stay in some type of situation that's detrimental to you as a person or your physical body, mentally or emotionally. But you got to be realistic about where the line is for that. But we are encouraging people to work harder at, to me, right in the beginning, you need to work harder at just dating. People think that when we get to marriage, somehow or another, it's a utopia relationship and that it doesn't come without problems. It's going to have problems. It's going to have issues. There'll be some concerns that are there, but that's where your communication and your trust factor have to check in. And you've got to be realistic about this stuff. Some of the things, the pressure that we put on those that we're dating, it's not good. The expectations that you have, do you exude those same expectations? Or go ahead.
Let me use this word. We have to stop living in relationship porn. Now, what do I mean by that? You watch porn, you see these professionals who are doing all kind of flips and handstands and all kind of ways and things, and you want that because you've been watching it and you fed your imagination on this diet of a professional level person who has committed their whole, that's their, not their life, but that's their trade, if you will. That's their career, if you will. And so they're professionals.
Right.
And you come into the next relationship expecting them to be, this 5-star porn star. But in the same way, we're doing that in our relationships. We create these fantasies in our head, okay? And the moment the person doesn't live up to the fantasy that you created, that, like you said, you probably not even living up to that standard your own self. But once they don't, that gives you the excuse to just cut and run. It is not my responsibility to, this sounds so bad, and it's not the Tyler Perry romance, but it's not my responsibility to fulfill the fantasies that are going on in his head. And vice versa. We are so unfair when we expect a party that does not exist in our heads to actually know by osmosis or prophecy somehow, and to know and to fulfill what's going on up here. It's just not fair.
It's not.
Or realistic.
Definitely not realistic. I think you really hit it on the head when you say it's a fantasy that goes on in your head, and marriages and relationships are just not like that. Dating, I think most of us have missed the concept of what it's like. So yeah, there's a super fantasy about what dating is.
Absolutely.
Very superimposed. It's more puffed up and a little bit too much in the very beginning for a lot of us. But you want to grow and evolve into.
That's a good word, evolve.
Yeah, to evolve into what you guys want to do together. As a single person, you still want to take note of yourself and what your expectations are. Are these realistic? Run it by a good friend of yours, a counselor, or somebody who may have a little bit different insight as to what you're talking about. So am I trying to do too much? Am I expecting too much as a single person about what I aspire for in a relationship?
And look, relationship issues, problems, challenges, troubles, they aren't always all about the other person. They are opportunities for you to, as you say, evolve, to grow, to change. So don't always be looking to change somebody else. Look at how you should be changed. Well, I'm not changing for nobody. Well, that's your problem.
Yeah.
Life is about change. Every situation you come into, a new job, you're going to grow, you're going to evolve on that job. If you ever quit or ever get fired or whatever the case is, you should be different than you were when you came in, because it should have changed. You've learned things, you've grown. And the same can be said about relationships. Don't be so afraid. Don't lack enough confidence to grow in yourself.
Absolutely.
To grow.
Absolutely. That's good. I like that.
And you got that for free.
You got that for free. Okay. But yeah, that was good. I think that we've interacted enough and communicated with enough people. Most recently, I really appreciate the accolades that people give us. That when they see us, they're like, oh, I aspire to be like you guys, or you just look so happy. And don't get us wrong, our relationship is not perfect, but we strive for the perfection of it. That we really try to work, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's never going to be perfect.
I guess it's not perfect. I kind of thought it was that fantasy in your head.
It's like being, it's the same, to me it's kind of the same level, well not level, but being a Christian, we strive for perfection, but we're never going to achieve it. Right. Relationships are never going to be perfect, but you want to push towards perfection. So yeah, I think that's where it is for me.
So we are back with our second season, hitting hard, trying to challenge you all to do better, to fight harder. Don't run in and run out. Take your time, grow, develop. And so we're really looking forward to what this second season holds. Sure. First season, we had some really good topics and things. And
great responses from it.
Absolutely. And one of the things that really caught us off guard, going back to the whole break that we took in between the first and second season, is we got feedback from some of the most unlikely places. There are people who said, I've been looking for it. I'm like,
I didn't even know you were watching.
And these are like, some people are straight. Yeah. Some of these people aren't even affirming, but they're still applying the same principles to their own relationships,
which is what we want.
Which is because a lot of there is a lot of overlap, just that's basic to relationships. Absolutely. And not just gay relationships. But if you are watching, you're enjoying these programs, let us know.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, we'll take another break. I'm kidding. But definitely drop a line to us. Let us know on Facebook, facebook.com/ what is it? Judah First Ministries. And then YouTube, youtube.com/ Judah First Ministries. And then also judahfirst.org. You can also email any questions that you have or comments and things like that to frommetowwe@judahfirst.org.
That's good. So we're so looking forward to our next episode of season 2. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we're just excited to be back. We look forward to hearing from you. God bless you. We love you, and we'll see you on the next one.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Really?
Really.
Yes.